Welcome to the Creating Creatives podcast, now featuring our mom and dad.
Hey there, everyone. Welcome to the Creating Creatives podcast. This is my beautiful wife, Shelly Lloyd Sampson.
Hello.
And I am Roy Sampson. And today we'll be talking about the top four reasons we play with our children first.
Yes. First one
Yeah.
is it's a quick win.
Yeah, it's a quick win.
Want to tell us about quick wins?
Yeah, of course. I'd like to talk about quick wins. So it's really tempting to tackle the most important thing first. That's one of the things that we were taught when we were younger, maybe in college. You tackle the most important things first. You put the big rocks in the jar, then you put the medium-sized rocks in the jar, then you put the small rocks in the jar, then you put the sand, and then you have time for to fit everything inside that jar. However, when you're just getting started, the quick wins are the things that are important. It's the daily things that we do that we need to be able to do well. And one of those things is really spend time with our children, because a lot of us take advantage of the fact that we do it all the time. Since I'm going to do it again tomorrow, I can put it off today. But what ends up happening is you start building these habits of not spending time with the kids because you keep putting it off until tomorrow. So that I think that if we actually took a timer and counted how much time we spent with the kids versus how much time we tell the kids we're going to spend time with them later, it ends up flipping the boat a little bit. So the important things that are in your life end up becoming less important because you didn't get that quick win first thing.
Yeah. I think sometimes we think playing with our children has to take up a ton of time too.
Yeah.
You know, and for me, when you hear your kids being like, can you play with me? Can you play with me? Can you play with me? It's like, okay, when you're in the middle of doing something, obviously, right? It's just, you're like, okay. And so I would always put it off. Yeah. Later. And then what got me was in my head was I was like, okay, I need to stop putting them off and I need to play with them and be a good mother. And it was 30 seconds was the time that I decided was okay, which is crazy because it's 30 seconds. That is so short. It wasn't even a minute. But I was like, I'll do 30 seconds. And I did 30 seconds. And then 30 seconds turned into a minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Or sometimes it was just 5 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
And sometimes it was just 2 minutes. But it doesn't matter. The point is it got me to play with them, and it was a quick win because it was something that I did quickly. So it was just like
less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, less than 5 minutes. And it was focused attention, iPads, iPhones, whatever way, focused attention on them, which kind of doubled the time, right?
Yeah. It's a multiplier. The more focus you have on people or on your children at the time you spend with them, it feels like it's a lot longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember doing this as well when I was working from home, and Zoe said, "Daddy, let's play freeze dance."
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like an app on Alexa where you say, "Alexa, play freeze." Oh no, she's gonna do it.
No, you're good. You're good.
We're good. Okay. Whew.
The A word.
The A word starts playing music and then stops it, and then you're just sitting there dancing. And when the music stops, of course, you dance, and then
You freeze.
you freeze, and then the A word says, "Did I trick you?" And you either say yes or no, and then when you say no, like, oh, okay, cool, let's do another round. And we did a couple of rounds of these things, and it lasted maybe a minute, and it filled up their happy cup, their cup of joy.
Yeah.
Right? To the point where I could say, all right, now it's time for daddy to work. Oh man, but they didn't complain as much as if I didn't play with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they were all full. Get that quick win.
You fill up their cup. Everyone needs their cup filled. And so.
Yeah. And of course, playing with the kids is something that we'd put on the checklist. Yeah. If you have a daily checklist like Shelly.
Yes. But it's more of I feel like the playing with the kids is, I don't have like a playing with the kids tick off box. It's more of something that I know they're going to ask me or do.
Yep.
But once you do it first, it's like you're tackling it before they ask to play with you. And there's just something powerful about that just, I don't know, it just makes them happier because then they don't ask to play with you, and hearing the like, can you play with me? Can you play with me? Can you play with me? It's a nagging.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
It's like
and
dangling guilt
you feel
over your
guilty.
head
You
the
feel
whole time.
so guilty. Yeah. And so when you tackle it first, get that quick win,
Guilt's gone.
and then you can check it off your list. You're like, I've done this. So now you have given yourself time to get whatever it is you're done. You need to do, especially if you're working from home in these crazy times.
And it's a lot easier to concentrate on whatever it is you're doing, because now you don't have this thought in the back of your head saying, man, I should really play with my kids right now.
Yeah, or you're trying to get as much work done as you can before they come and ask you to play, because you've already played with them and invested in your time. And like you were saying earlier, if you give them a time that you're going to play later, so then you play with them and then you say, okay, I have to go to work now. If you're working from home, I'm talking about, you go and you work on your stuff, and then you say, just before you go back to work, when you start playing with them, I'll play with you again in 2 hours, or at whatever time, whatever o'clock, whatever time works for you. Then you go back and then you play with them again for a little bit, and it just really, really makes them happier people, and it makes them feel valued,
Yeah. And that's reason number 3. It really makes them feel valued when you put them first. And there's just something about the human brain that whatever we put first or whatever we do first has more importance to it. And
right.
Funny example is when I put the kids to sleep, they all like getting their feet rubbed and back scratched and hair.
They all have their specific thing.
They all have their specific thing. And if I go to Tristan or Zoe or Zachary first, it doesn't matter which one I go first. The other two will always think, and they will let me know that, oh, you like Zachy first. You always go to him first.
Yeah, I go to him first.
Because you did it first.
Yeah.
So if we play with the kids first, before work, before chores, before dishes, all that stuff, then they feel more valued than whatever it is that you just put them in front of.
Yeah.
And it's awesome.
Yeah.
And that is the feeling of being valued is what multiplies the time, and it multiplies your time of being left alone, because now they will go play with their brothers and sisters or play by themselves with a sense of value.
Yeah. And they trust you, which is our 4th reason. You've developed trust with them because you've stuck to your word. In fact, if you kind of edge it off before they ask you to play, you've kind of wiped it away from that they don't even have to ask, that you play with them, and so they trust you. And then when you say, I'm going to play with you again in 2 hours or an hour or whatever it is, they trust you. So when you need them to do something, they know that you are going to hold up your end of the bargain.
Whatever that bargain is.
Yeah, whatever it is. And
whether it's a reward for doing a chore, or whether it's a reward for doing something, it puts a lot more weight to your word because you've kept your word, or even you kept the promise before you even made a deal.
Yeah. And it's hard. It is not easy. I struggle with it every day. One, just making sure I'm consistent and playing with them, and
none of this is
putting
easy
it
at
off
all.
And making sure I keep my word when I say I'm going to do something, and thinking about what I'm going to say before I do it. And then you get tired, and then you're just like, oh yeah, okay, you fall back into the old habits. But it's something for me, I'm constantly working on it. We wanted to share this with you to hopefully help anyone else struggling with,
at least give you something to try.
Yeah. And some ways that are great to play with your kids, like when they say play with me, obviously whatever your child is into, but that's something that works for us. And we have 3 kids, so they are if
into
we were
different things.
Into different things, yeah. But playing a game, we'll play a card game, we'll play a board game, we'll play we'll read a book together, or just something, but it has to be
freeze dance.
Yeah.
Zachy just likes cuddling or getting tickled.
Yeah, freeze dance. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just quality time. It has to be iPad free,
just you
electronic
and the kid.
Free. You focus time on them, just as you would focus time on your work or anything else, And there's something just so wonderful about what you get from that. They turn into nicer, happier human beings, which is crazy.
Yeah, well,
Crazy
we're
obvious.
trying to develop trustworthy human beings, right? That's the whole point of this parenting thing, is that eventually we're going to trust that they can go off and be productive members of society.
And kind members
and
of
kind
society.
members of
that
society.
hold up to their word.
And it has to add up every day. Like, they're not going to be kind, trusting members of society if every day they feel like they're not trusted.
Yeah,
Or,
that they get kicked to the side, that their playing isn't important, that we never get around to it, you know?
the email is more important than me. Like, they're not gonna feel like they have value, so they're gonna go off into the world feeling unvalued.
Yeah.
They're gonna look for that value
From someone else or something else.
somewhere we don't want them to go to.
Yeah.
So, top 4 reasons we play with our children. First, quick win. Check it off your list so there's no guilt.
Yes.
They feel valued.
Yep.
You just
And you develop trust.
develop trust, and you develop trusting children.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I think that's it.
That's it. It is hard, but the more you do it, the easier it gets.
Yeah. The more you do it, the easier it gets. And it's like delegating. The more you do it, the easier it gets. And the more, the happier they are, you know?
Yeah, the easier they are to deal with. And the opportunities come at the weirdest times. I know for me, there was one time where more than one time actually, I'm ready to go to work early. Sometimes I'll wake up early because I like having a really early day so I can get off a little bit earlier. So the sun hasn't even come up yet. I'm already dressed, backpack on. One of the kids wakes up and I could easily say, Daddy's got to go work, kiss him on the head and leave.
Bye.
Right? But a lot of times it will end up just cuddling on the couch for literally 30 seconds. I'll just like, come here, Zachy, put the backpack down, snuggle on the couch for like 30 seconds, kiss him on the head, Daddy's got to go to work, and leave.
Yeah. It's
it.
amazing what
It's
that time
amazing
can
what
do.
it does.
Yeah, it's true.
So look for those opportunities, get those quick wins, spend time with your children first.
Yep.
Try it and then let us know.
Yeah. It might not work for you. I don't know, but it works for us.
Yeah, and if it doesn't work for you, write down in the comments below what does work for you.
Yeah.
Because then we'd like to try that too.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Please. We're always love trying new things, and it's just a constant development and learning situation here in parenthood. R&D. Yeah.
R&D. All right, that's all we had today. Just to recap, top 4 reasons why you play first. It's a quick win. You get to check it off the list. They feel valued. They feel so valued. And then you develop trust. You develop trusting little human beings that you can trust with a house. House keys in the car. Oh, no,
there
they're
yet.
so little.
Gosh.
Not there yet. All right.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in. We are Creating Creatives, the podcast. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, share us, and all that fancy stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.